What's going on, guys? Another episode of What Would Vinny Do? I'm really excited about tonight. I got my favorite real estate team in the house. My boy Adan and Vanessa, the Moravilla team. What's going on, guys? Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Anytime, anytime. So, normally when we start out, we talk about people, like where they grew up, and we could start from there with you guys as well. Awesome. So, I don't really have couples, usually it's one person, but so we'll do it. We'll take it with you.
It's a 2-for-1.
Yes, it's a 2-for-1.
That's what we tell our clients.
Yeah.
So
my name's Vanessa Villanueva, and I grew up here in the Bronx in Soundview. My parents had a house right by the water, so I definitely got to enjoy all the benefits of having a home that we could play with our animals, go for jet ski rides.
Well, you gotta be a little. How many animals? Because she says it like, you know,
like
she
you got a farm in town.
No, she had a dog and a cat. How many animals did you have?
We had like 8 rabbits, like 6 chickens,
Really? In
4
Soundview?
ducks.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I mean, we had a huge backyard, and it went into the water, so we got to definitely enjoy all of that. And then my brother worked at Petco, so you went into his room, and it was a whole different world.
Her dad would buy her a rabbit every Easter.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool, you know?
That is cool.
Yeah, no, so that definitely was a little snippet about me.
Okay, so you're a Bronx girl. I like that. How about you?
Well, I started off as, a little cliche Dominican story, right? Washington Heights, 160th. Between 150th and 165, you could probably find my entire family in this country. Then we moved into Riverdale in the Bronx. I went to Cardinal Hayes High School, so definitely have a lot of roots in the Bronx. Definitely consider it home,
Very cool. So I have to ask how you guys met. So was it?
Well, you're gonna get 2 versions.
Okay, that's what I figured. There's always 2 versions. So I was gonna say, like in The Godfather, there's a moment it's called the lightning bolt when Al Pacino sees that. Was it like that? You knew right off the bat. That's what I want. That's what I want to hear. So we'll start with your version.
Okay, so we'll start
the
with
redacted version.
So my brother actually worked at Con Ed, and they would always have like these happy hours. So if you know Adan, he was the coordinator of these happy hours, and I would go there, and I met him the first time, and we hit it off. We had a great time, and then a few years later we met again, and then everything worked out. We had a great date.
Where was the first date? Where did he take you?
900.
Nice.
So
That wasn't the first date.
what?
We'll get to the true story when she's
Okay.
done.
When you go.
Please continue.
That was like our first time, and then from there, I hit him up a few days later, and then we honestly have spent almost every day together since then. Within 3 months, we were moved in.
Really?
Yeah.
Tear emoji.
Yeah. So little heart on top of that.
So it was the lightning bolt. It sounds like
No, it definitely was great. But when you hear Don's version, it was like I was like floating to him on little angel wings.
That's how I saw it. So, I had a professional relationship with her brother. So out of respect, I believe in that. I asked her permission. I said, listen, you mind if I take your sister out on a date?
Professional relationship. What does that mean?
We work together.
Okay.
Like, I'm not gonna, somebody I work with, I'm not gonna do that without.
You knew him, yeah.
Yeah, I knew him.
Showing respect.
Out of respect. And I said, listen, Mike, you mind if I ask your sister out? He said it was okay, and I did. Now, I want to go backtrack because that's first date. But the first time we met, this girl was feeling me. Okay,
and who could blame her?
You know what I mean? Like, listen, almost.
He wasn't funny.
I felt like the Spanish Chris Rock. I was Chris Piedra, and I'm out here. Anything I said, it was like, it was the funniest thing you ever seen in your life. So I'm like, oh, she likes me, I got that vibe, and she made me feel good about myself. And that's really it, right? She made me feel like I was the funniest, the smartest, and the best looking man in the world. And those are 3 things that we all know are flat out lie. But she made me feel that way, and that to me was what it was all about. But first date, I had to throw it all out there, and I took her to like 4 different spots. And I was like, I'm gonna make this a super date. It was like 6 dates in one. We did karaoke, and I went up there and I sang a song, and I can't sing.
Put it all out there.
I can't sing.
But it's
I can't
scripted.
sing.
There's people dancing bachata to him singing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So it was definitely.
Yeah, but she's definitely a lightning bolt, and she made me better. And that's all you can ask.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was you at this time? Did you work together, or you said you worked with her brother? What was your career at this time?
So I was in Con Edison, and I was happy, like when you finally get that big union job, and you're growing up in the city, at least in my family and our culture, it was like you got a union job, you got benefits,
Definitely.
you were secure.
Yes.
There was nothing better in the world.
Same
it was
here.
either that
Same
or
here, yeah.
my son's a doctor.
You're taught to go get that union
Yeah,
job.
it's like you either gotta be a doctor or you gotta get a union job. I got the union job. So, and then I started dating Vanessa.
How old were you at that time?
When I met her?
No, at the union job.
Well, I was at Con Ed only for about 5 years.
Okay.
Before that, I worked for Mount Sinai. I was in 1199 SEIU, which was another union job.
Okay.
But,
Con Ed's a good job. And people say that's a good, when you're growing up, like you said. My father would be proud of me. You work at Con Ed, you got the benefits.
He's telling his friends about you.
Yes,
like,
yes.
oh, my son's working.
My son made it. He's at Con Ed.
Working in those manholes.
So what were you doing? Were you out in the radiation fields?
Radiation fields, yes. Now, I was working on the electric side of things. They're divided, electric and gas. And, but it was interesting because, one, it taught me a lot, right? Like, when I got into real estate in the beginning, I'm seeing these realtors complaining about, nonsense.
Yeah, and you were
I had a terrible day.
Yeah.
I had to make 16
You were
phone
coming
calls.
home glowing from a
dude, I'm
reaction.
over here swimming in lead. Sweating. Oh, no.
But were you working at Con Ed as well?
No, I did years and years ago, but I've been a realtor for about 13 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
But yeah, going back to the original thing was that I saw what she was doing, and I was like, man, this is nice.
So you're at Con Ed and you're together as a couple.
So now we're dating.
And she's a realtor.
She's a realtor. She's a second generation realtor.
Okay.
So her mother was in the business for about 36 years. She's still active. But anyways, I saw what she was doing.
And did you say you should come into this with me, or you just decided I want to get?
I'll let her say the story.
Yeah, no. So he would ask me questions. He would not want me to go on appointments by myself. So I was like, sure, you can.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, you're gonna go show this random guy a house by yourself? I was like, let me take you.
Were
We've been doing it for years.
Were you doing well at this time, or were you a successful realtor? Because there's a lot of realtors, but were you making money as a realtor?
No, I was definitely making decent money.
Okay.
Definitely making decent money, but we're definitely grown and doubled since then.
Right. Yeah, and we're gonna get to that. Yeah. But I'm saying back then, when you're telling him he's at Con Ed and use it together, are you married or you're not married?
No, we're not married.
Okay.
And I think that's where I was starting to really kind of get my footing and finding out a little bit more, meeting more people, and then really kind of growing my business.
And what year was that into the business?
It was about 3-4 years ago.
So
once
and
I really
that's
started to
and
kind of
that's
blossom.
that's good for our listeners to understand.
Yeah.
This takes time. Like I got into the business, I didn't start making real money until 6 years in. And
Yeah.
people come in like 3 or 4 months.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely.
It's definitely.
So that's
it's not
important to
like
let people know out
one
there.
day
People
to the
think they're
next.
gonna come in and be millionaires and make their own schedule, and we know what.
No, it does not. It does not work that way. You can make your own schedule right from the beginning.
If you don't want to make money,
Yeah.
yeah, you can make your own schedule.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you're starting to get a little traction, and you're
Yep.
starting to earn. And he's working at Con Ed. And who says maybe you should be a team?
Adan did. He was like, I think I could do this. And I was like, okay, well, you got to take your class. So what happened within 3 months, he already did the 75-hour course.
And you did this while you were still at Con Ed?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was funny because I was actually in the middle of getting, I wouldn't call it a promotion, but when you got to do your apprenticeship and then you get to do the main title. So I was actually in the school for getting the main title at the same time that I was getting my real estate license, which I think is kind of symbolic, right? Because I was in the middle of making a dream come true, but at the same time I kind of saw a glimpse of man, there's something there.
Were you happy at Con Ed, or were you I'm not really happy, I want to do this other, I see what she's doing and it looks more fulfilling?
I mean, listen, Con Ed's a great job, right? At the end of the day, you see a possibility of what you want to be, right? You want to get the top pay, right? You got to put your time in, and you understand, and just like real estate, right? You just said that. You can't come in expecting to be a top pay. But I was on pace to getting what they call your title, right? Which was putting me on track to easily breaking 6 figures a year at some point, without even blinking an eye, without even doing overtime.
And as you get seniority, it's better jobs.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, and then I was doing this at the same time. And that's where it kind of clicked. In about 6 months into the business, I really saw okay, this is real enough that I left.
Okay.
You know, and
So
here we
you
are
left
today.
and you formed a team right off the bat.
Yes.
And how did that? Was there a transition into that? Did automatically things get better? Well, okay. So what were some of the struggle, the hard parts, and then some of the good parts?
So hard parts for me, honestly, was sharing my business in like having someone intimately involved in my business, because even though, like we said, I'm a second generation, I was not used to depending on someone else.
Well, when you mean sharing your business, you mean the commissions, or you mean
A little bit.
you don't want to share your commissions with your
No, but going back to that. When I first started, I didn't leave Con Ed until I had my entire year's salary in my pipeline.
Okay.
Right? So it's not like I just blindly was like, I got a feeling. No, like we were working and things were happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
And things were moving along a lot faster. And I was like, listen, I got in my pipeline right now enough to what I'm going to make this whole year. And it was March. So that's when I saw the light. You know?
And I think another thing was just spending more and more time with each other. I saw how much potential he had, because anyone that speaks to Adan knows that he has a great sense of humor, his ability to connect with people. He's great at math. He's great at problem solving. He's quick on his feet.
I'm going to need a recording of that.
And you know, like, what you were doing it, hello, what would they do?
That's what this is. So what if he wasn't good at it? Would you have told him maybe to say for you to stay?
I hope
Of
so.
course.
I
I
hope
would have been
so.
like, this is more like a one-woman shop. Like,
Solo.
but,
I'm a solo on it.
Yeah,
solo.
she better have told me that. I'm about to leave a job.
No, and that was my thing. It was like I never wanted for him to put all his eggs in one basket and then for it to kind of come crumbling, because this isn't an easy job. It isn't something where you have a steady pay, whereas that's not the case in Con Ed, right? And but he was he's very when Adan wants something, he pursues it with all passion behind it. So when I saw how active he was in getting his license, you know, making the calls, he was there more than some realtors. He was there every day after work, closed in his car, ready change, came in, made the calls, did the scripts. You know, like he wasn't scared.
So he was doing it while you were at Con Ed.
Yeah.
And that's always like, my mentality was always like, I'm not a part-time realtor. I'm a dual career agent, right? Because I saw it. Like I was in the office, in the real estate office, more than people that were full-time realtors.
Amen.
And that's it. And if you're not there, then you don't care. Like,
Yeah.
You know.
No, and then we've definitely been blessed to
So he comes into your business, and it's no growing pains at all. It's just smooth, like smooth. He comes in, and all of a sudden
Absolutely
you double
not.
your double your GCI. Like, so was there?
Well, actually, the first year together, we tripled the GCI.
Really?
Yeah.
And you were like, it's all me. You were
No, but you know what? Going deeper into something, right? Like talking about the masculinity, right? Let's be honest here. As a man, I'm coming into a business that I don't know as well as she does, and I'm like, I want to perform. I want to know that me being here had a direct impact on progression.
Right.
Right? Because I would have been very ashamed, or I would have been not happy about that. Like if we would have made the same amount that she made by herself the next year, I would probably be like, well, what am I really doing
What
here?
am I bringing to the table? Like,
So I'm not gonna lie to you. When we came in triple, that was her best year ever.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think for me, and kind of adding to that, it was, I was always scared or intimidated by other realtors. Like I knew who you were before you knew me. I knew who, like, you know, a lot of the top agents in our industry were, because I was following them and I wanted to do more, but I always held myself back because I always had that insecurity, right? And when Adan came in, Adan is very confident, and Adan is like, we're all in full speed, and if we hit that wall, we'll just pivot and we'll find the next door. Yeah, like we're going through either way, and then you know, making sure that claiming the value, like he kind of reassured me and like showed me like, you have a lot more than what you think. You need to put yourself out there.
So his belief in you kind of gave you the confidence.
Yeah, definitely pushed
That's
me
cool.
past that.
That's
So
cool.
We made
it
each
definitely
other
helped.
better.
Yeah, we have a good
You know?
balance to our relationship.
So I still haven't heard the struggling part. So I'm waiting for you. Like, what
Well, our
was there any growth?
personalities are
Any
very
growth?
different.
Like, is it like you have a bad day in real estate and then you go home and you're together and you're like,
That's the
did you
weird
mess
thing,
it up?
though.
You
That's
go on a
the weird
listing
thing.
appointment and somebody says the wrong thing and you don't
we've
get
had
the
those.
listing,
We've had
and then
those.
you go home and you're like,
I think that this business can hurt relationships.
it's tough.
But when
that's
you're
why I'm
both
always
in it,
admired by. Yeah, I hear
It's a
you.
little bit better, right? Because I can pillow talk about a bad listing appointment.
Right,
Most people that are in the business, they
can't
can't do
relate.
that.
right.
Right? So that actually for us is that
Like therapy.
we like spending time together. We're very comfortable with it. We spend more time together than I would say 99% of couples. Like, let's be honest. We work together, we live together, and we
Raise
thrive
kids
together.
together.
You know, so it's like, and it just works for us.
That's what I'm saying.
You know?
I've been in this business a long time, and there's days when everything goes wrong. The deal falls through. Something you thought was going to happen doesn't happen. And on those days when you go home, does it come to the dinner table? You know what I mean? Or do you? Does it
try
make
not
it-
There is no dinner table.
you flip the dinner table.
No,
over.
it's just like-
you know what I mean.
it's
Do you
just
bring it
all
home?
meshed
Do you bring it
into one.
home?
Yeah.
And then that bad day
No,
is
it
part
comes-
of.
No,
part
we
of-
don't bring the negativity home. Like we can sit there and the phone rings and we just lost 30 grand. But you got to look at this business a certain way, which is like the same way that you could lose 30, the phone can ring tomorrow and you can make 40. And if you go into this business thinking about one deal at a time or one phone call at a time, you're going to drive yourself crazy. You just are.
But I think it also, on top of that, it's not only learning the industry and learning how to deal with clients, right? Because you have so many different personalities constantly being thrown at you. It's just how you work with each other first and foremost. So Adan and I are very open. We talk and we kind of not necessarily criticize, but we give, constructive criticism and say, hey, I don't think that this worked for you.
Yeah.
Maybe you should go here, or I see that you're not following up as much. Like you need to make sure you're staying on top of your people.
How can we do this better?
Exactly.
Okay.
So we're always looking for ways to improve, and also share that, so that we can also get that feedback.
Got it. So, I remember you guys coming to Keller, and I've been at Keller Williams for a long time, and everybody knows I'm a Keller guy. So I want to talk about the
Can you see the tattoo?
So I want to talk about the transition to Keller, and you said when you first went, you already tripled. So when you came to Keller,
No, we tripled.
When we got here.
We created
when
our
you got
team.
okay. So this was at the same
When
time.
I
as coming to
went
Keller.
Yeah.
we were in Keller for about 2 weeks, and I went full time. You know what I mean? So it happened at the same time.
Okay, cool.
Now the time that I spent before leaving my past job, I was at a different brokerage.
Okay.
So it all kind of happened at one time.
So do you think, for me, and again, I like, and I'm not this. I just think Keller helped me think differently. It helped me to think bigger, and I credit it a lot to my business. And I know I had a lot to do with it, and you could be successful wherever you are, but I just feel like Keller made me think differently. And I'd like to see what it did for you guys. And do you think it helped your business coming to KW, helped you to be more successful as well?
we wouldn't still be here, would it?
Yeah.
I think action's a lot than words, and I think numbers are too. We tripled the first year at Keller.
So what do you think the reason was? Is
I
it
think it was a
systems?
combination of.
Is it what led to that success? What do you think it was?
So I think that for us, one of the major things was the opportunity to be able to structure a team, right? Because we did our research before we came to Keller Williams. We interviewed with a few, and what we loved about Keller was that you had the ability to establish a team. The education was great. It was phenomenal. The access to people bigger than you. We never want to feel like we're like the big fish in the little pond, right? So just being able to kind of rub elbows.
If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the
Yeah,
wrong room. Right?
exactly.
Exactly.
So we.
Or you're stupid.
Good one-liners. So yeah, I think it's a combination of those things, and then having access to people like Jamal, right, and just being able to really talk about a business, not just I'm a realtor. It's formulating this big picture idea, being able to have resources that help you build that team and how to structure that team. Like, who's your first hire? how's that look? And, did you create an LLC? And do you have an accountant? And really kind of talking more about the fundamentals and then kind of building it from there.
Like a blueprint
Exactly.
on how to do it,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Because not everyone talks about that. Not enough realtors and brokers really put things into perspective. Like, this is going to be your career. Let's really make it a career. Let's make it a business. Let's really put some
Absolutely.
foundational roots down and really, make this happen. And that we had here from day one.
Yep. 100%.
So I learned from you guys being here, and for me to watch teams and positive teams come in. I've always been like, what you said, how you're intimidated by other. I've never been that. I've always, if I see people having success, like you said before when we were talking, I think that's great, and that I like that as like a little competition. You know what I mean?
But it's
healthy competition.
What
right?
is friendly competition? Because I don't think some people know what that is. In reality, what's friendly about it?
Meaning what?
No, because I feel like there's so many realtors in the city, right? But there's a lot more properties,
Right.
and I feel like some realtors have a mentality where it's like, oh, that guy got that house, that girl got that house, and it's like instead of being like good for them, they're like they have a bad taste in their mouth.
Right.
And like,
but think about your business and my business. We don't take business from each other, right?
No.
You're doing well, I'm doing well,
Exactly. And let's do well together.
Yeah, that's it. So I gotta ask you. I talked about on my last podcast about my old fashions that I made you one. So I gotta ask you. True, and I know you're real.
I'm gonna need some props. So the first thing I said was that I love old fashions, and the first question out of my mouth was, "What kind of cherries are you using?" And this is what they pulled out right here. This bad boy right here.
So
if
you're giving people the secret, they'll look but it's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good.
No, I'm gonna cover it. If you're not using these cherries, that's new fashion. All right, that's not old fashioned.
So you're saying it's a good old fashioned? Are you saying
it was fantastic?
Let's say he was biting on these candied oranges.
Yes.
Nothing
This guy's got the special cherries.
Look at the
He's got candied orange slice. He's got the bitters.
Oh, these are my favorite. Not my favorite.
He's got the big ice cubes. I mean, he did it right. The only problem is that the cup, I think, has a hole in it. Something's up with the cup. Can we do something about that?
Fill it up, right? So, what's next for you guys? I'm happy to see your success, and I'm sure you guys are gonna go even further. And you tell me what's next. Do we have a plan, or what's?
We got a couple of things lined up. I mean, we definitely want to join that 500K club, right? So we have a special candle that we bought.
Yep.
We went on a weekend trip together in Vermont. And
No, that was actually the Poconos.
No. Oh yeah, it was. Sorry.
See, I make her forget what state she's in.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? I don't know where I am, but I love you.
It don't even matter. Paradise is a state of
mind. But we want to definitely light that up once we get to that point, and look into maybe getting a buyer's agent and then a VA to kind of help accomplish
So expand the team and just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. And doing it at the right time.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Right? Because let's talk about a little bit about the model. Because I don't care what agency you're at. If you're a realtor, you should read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent.
I read it 7 times. I always go back.
Dude, I'm telling you,
Yeah,
bro.
we got highlights and like sticky notes.
I'm telling you, it's the way to go. I don't
and it's
care.
any company you're at.
Yeah, I don't care. If
Right?
you're a realtor, period.
Yeah.
If you're doing real estate, you should learn. Because my thing is like, when do you grow your team? And what are you putting in place to decide when that happens? And it makes a big difference, right?
Yes.
Everybody comes in, they're like, oh, I want to hire 2 or 3 buyer's agents. Maybe they don't like working with buyers, so they want to stop doing that.
Yeah.
But that's not the way to go.
Right.
The way to go, you got to get an admin.
Right.
Maybe even get 2 before you even consider.
Exactly.
And if more people did that, and we went against the grain too. And I think like every agent I speak to,
I think you have to learn.
so it's like, they're like, I read the book, but I still got a buyer's agent.
Yeah.
We did that, and we learned.
Yeah, it did not.
You know, and I just think it's about setting standards, right? And like you have your goals, but what's the difference between a goal and a dream?
Execution.
And a plan.
Right.
Right? Because that's all it is. If you're just dreaming, you're just dreaming. All you think about is the end goal. But when you have a goal, you have an executable plan. And you have standards that you can set that when I hit this mark, I can do that. And that's, I think, is what really helped us a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I think much success for you guys. Obviously, you guys are going to be successful, and I want to thank you for coming on. Also, I'm just going to ask you a question because you know I'm big with the music. So, which record, if you had to put albums up, what album have you had on repeat growing up, and what would you put up in your room or your house?
So I'ma just lay this up to Adan.
No, I want to hear both of you. You're not getting it right. You don't listen to music.
Nothing.
But she's gonna hit you with something.
You can let Adan go first, but you're going next.
Like Lucy Pearl, like
It's all good. It's who you
Well,
like.
funny story about Vanessa. Every time we're like hanging out, she's like, "Baby, you wanna hear something?" She's like, "I wanna hear Dance Tonight."
Yeah, that's like
That's her jam.
So that's your
song.
jam.
There's nothing wrong
It
with
is
that.
what it is. So that's
But
your
he
album.
did say album though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I'm like,
Yeah.
album.
So think about it. What album?
Well, I'm gonna go.
What album impacted you? See, these albums on the wall, they're not just random albums.
I know.
I played the Beastie Boys, like, it meant a lot to me. Run DMC.
I love the wall.
Run DMC.
I love the wall.
Thank
By
you.
the way,
Wall's great.
because you know you could tell if everybody had a wall that they had to have 12 albums, I could walk into their house and know about them without knowing them.
That's it.
And I think that says a lot about what you have going on here, and it's very reflective of who you are.
Thank you.
But if I had to pick,
One album, the first one. I'm just saying. I'm not giving you 12.
Oh,
Yeah, like
man.
his would
What?
be.
It impacted you growing up, and you know, album music said bring you
I'm gonna-
back.
I'm
When you
gonna
hear the
go
song,
with-
you go back in that
I'm
time.
gonna go with Lost Boys, Love, Peace, and Happiness.
There you go.
That to me was one of it. So I
love
bought
it.
that
I
album.
love it.
I bought that album on tape. And in the same day, talk about a great day at the Harlem Music Hut, because that's where I bought them at on
I love
125th.
it.
Shout out to
I
them.
love it. I love
I walked into the Harlem Music Hut and I bought 2 tapes. These are the first albums I ever purchased. I bought Fuji's A Score
Nice.
and Love,
That's a
Peace,
big
and
one.
Happiness,
That's a
Lost
big one.
Boys. And I remember sitting in the car. We were going on a road trip, so I really got to sit down and listen to them.
Right.
And it changed my life.
Yep.
So
And Fuji's could have been up there for me too.
Oh,
Fuji's
my
was a
God.
big album.
My
Big
God,
album for me.
man. Shout out to Lauren. Where you at? We miss you.
Yeah.
So that's also that all the time. That and his Sade is on repeat.
Shadizi, Manizi. That's my girl right there. You know when you know a good artist, when you can hear him when you're mad and when you're happy.
Nice.
If it works on both sides, it's a good song.
That's it.
That's it,
That's it.
100%.
That's enough about me, please. We're waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel like I don't got the hype. Like, I really don't know. I'm not like consistently into like certain music or genre. I mean, I'm just always big on like R&B and like 90s, early 2000s.
Alright.
So Dance Tonight by Lucy Pearl.
There you go.
She's like, I'm gonna narrow it down to a song.
Yeah, like, that's gonna be a good song all the
That's all
time.
good. All right, guys. So thanks again. It's been a pleasure, and come back, of course. And now let's have some lobster tails and drink some more old fashions.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.